I'm Eva and welcome to my channel. I want to start a series where I'm reading through my physical TBR till I get down to 0 books on my TBR. Right now, I believe I have 27 books on my TBR, so I think that's very possible. It's not that I need to get down to 0, but I just think it would be kind of like a fun challenge. And I want to do a little series where I do some reading vlogs, some reading challenges to get that number down. So for the first episode, I guess I could call it, I'm going to read the highest rated book on Goodreads and the lowest rated book on Goodreads from my physical TBR. So for the highest rated book, I have The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. This is a mystery slash thriller that's set in 1789, so it's a little bit of a historical fiction. This has a 4.38 rating on Goodreads. A few months ago, I randomly saw this book being posted on Instagram a lot, and from the reviews and stuff I saw, I really wanted to pick this up. So this has a 4.38. And then for our lowest rated book, I have If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier. I don't know if that's how you say her last name. But this is a thriller, a girl who loves watching true crime. Her favorite podcaster goes missing and she wants to find out what happened to her. This has a 3.12 on Goodreads. And I actually got these books at the same time, but this one I went into the bookstore having never heard of it and just decided to pick it up because I thought the description sounded cool. As did I also really like the cover. I think that looks really cool. And when I got home, I saw that this had a 3.14 then, so it's went down since I got it. Now it has a 3.12, and even though this is the lowest... Okay, the air just kicked on, sorry. Even though the ratings for this book aren't very good, I haven't looked at any reviews. I just saw that it had low ratings, but I still want to give it as fair of a shot even though the ratings are low. So The Frozen River for our highest, and If I Disappear for our lowest rated. So I'm going to start with The Frozen River because I am not going to lie, I'm a little more excited for this one. Not because of the ratings, just because I think this one sounds right up my alley. But we'll see. Do I agree with these books this one being rated so high and this one being rated so low? Or am I going to actually like this one better? We'll see. So let's get into reading The Frozen River. Here for my first update of The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I am just about halfway through, a little more, a little less. Going into this, I thought it was more mystery heavy than it has been so far. I knew it was set in the 1700s, but I didn't realize it was more like heavily a historical fiction with mystery as more of the background story. I feel like it's more heavily a historical fiction with some mystery aspects to it. For the most part, I feel like it talks more about their town and the 1700s and the way things were and how their town works and all the people in it and all the stories going on, the treatment of women at this time. I feel like that's more of the base of the story over this mystery that is also a part of the story, but it doesn't feel as much like the main part. This book follows Martha. Martha is a midwife and a healer. She has a diary where she records all the births and deaths in town, as well as every day she documents any big event that happened in the day. And in her journal, a few months prior, she documented that this woman had been sexually assaulted by these 2 men, one of which who is very respected in the town. He was a colonel and he also now is the judge of the town. At that time, they didn't do school or anything, I believe. They just kind of gave it to him because he was a colonel. So he's kind of well respected, but him and this other man sexually assaulted this woman. And Martha wrote this down, and a little while later, the woman goes and actually reports the crime. Now there's going to be a trial against these 2 men who assaulted her, and Martha 100% knows that this woman did get assaulted. She saw her not long after it happened and she was just absolutely battered and bruised. She documented this all down in her journal. And now, in present time, one of the men who assaulted her is found dead in the river. So that's why it's the Frozen River. They kind of see him under the ice. It's around the time where the river starts to freeze. And this is not long before the 2 men are going to their first trial. And this man, he's not the colonel slash judge. This is the other man who was there and assaulted her. And Martha is the first one to see the body. And her, what do they call it? Her assessment of the body is that he was beaten and then hanged and then put in the river. And Martha has been doing this for decades. She's supposed to be like in her mid-50s. Then this younger guy who is in his 20s, who went to Harvard Medical, comes and does the assessment and says that it was an accidental drowning. And everybody wants to believe him over Martha because he went to Harvard. So in this town, some people think he was murdered and others think it was an accidental drowning. But everybody also thinks it's a kind of a coincidence that he would die right before his trial was going to start. Anyways, we get the stories of the town, stuff that's going on. So there's that storyline with the assault and the trial. We also get to follow Martha in her midwifery. We follow that as well as her family. She is married and I love her and her husband in the book. First of all, he seems like so great and I love her sassiness and her determination to stand up for the women in their community. And I love how he's just like worships the ground she walks on. Like, I love that dynamic. I am really enjoying this. Again, I went into it thinking it was going to be more of a mystery, so at first I was really surprised with how it wasn't heavily focused on the mystery aspect. I feel like it's more of a historical fiction with mystery than a mystery that just happens to be set in a earlier time period. I actually am so enjoying it. I love being in Martha's point of view. I don't know if I've said this before, but I really enjoy reading about family dynamics and family drama and stuff like that. And this book doesn't really have too much on family drama, but small town drama, small town gossip, I also enjoy that. I am very intrigued to see where our mystery plot goes, because even though the other doctor says he thinks it's an accidental drowning, Martha thinks it's a murder. And of course, I'm guessing that Martha is going to end up being right. So I'm intrigued to see who ended up killing him. Also, I forgot to add, we also keep going back 35 years to when her and her husband first got married. I don't really know if there's like reasoning for this, if it's going to lead to something else, or if it's supposed to help us figure out something with the murder or what, but I am really enjoying that too because I really like them as a couple. So yeah, at first I was a little like iffy about it because I thought it was supposed to be a mystery. Once I switched my mindset, I really started enjoying it. So yeah, I can totally see why this is the highest rated book. I cannot wait to find out how everything connects and who killed him. This is gonna be quick and brief because it's late and I need to go take a shower, but I finished The Frozen River a few hours ago and I totally see why this has the highest average. I am giving this 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. The characters felt so real. I just realized I had blue on my mouth because we just came from the carnival and I got an ice cream and it was all over my face a second ago, so don't mind that. But I absolutely loved this. The characters felt so real, especially Martha. She was so strong in her opinions, yet even when she made a mistake or whatever, she still always tried to rectify it. And even when she had strong opinions on stuff, she would state her opinion or think she's right. She was always open to trying to see the different point of view. And I loved her husband as well. They were such a cute couple, and their balance together was so cute. And even though I expected something different from this book going into it, I loved it so much. I'm so glad it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. I mean, yes, there still was the mystery, like I said earlier, but it wasn't as like of the main thing as it ended up being. Also, I didn't know that Martha was based off a real person in the 1700s. Martha Ballard is a real person and she was a midwife, and she was also married to a man named Ephraim. And the case that happened in this book happened in real life. It's mostly fiction, like it's based on the stuff that happened, but obviously there's gaps that are filled in the case of fiction because we are in Martha's point of view, so we get to know what happened. So all of that was true. The case on the sexual assault was real and actually happened. I don't know if she journaled, and I don't know because it shows journal entries, like they're very short, like describing the weather and then saying like if she delivered a baby or something. Like that's all that was in the journal entries, and I wonder if they were real, but at the same time in the very end something happens, so I don't know if the journal entries are real or not. That would be really cool if they were. So I don't know if they were real or not, but I'm gonna guess no. I enjoyed the book so much. We had a few different plot lines going on that were nicely wrapped up. And one thing that happened in the end, I just go Martha. Let's just say that. So I totally get why this was 5 stars. I loved it. I totally recommend it. But just remember, if you're thinking it's a mystery going into it, yes, it is a mystery and has a mystery plot line, but I would say it more so is a historical fiction, and you're kind of living the experience of the people in Hallowell, which is like this small town, and Martha and her midwifery and her family and small town gossip. I loved it. Anyways, I'm now going to get started on our lowest rated book, If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier. I don't know if that's actually how you say the last name. This is also a mystery thriller, so I thought it's kind of perfect that for this video it ended up both being mysteries. So I'm going to get into this now, and I will tell you my halfway thoughts in a little bit. I'm barely in this and I'm already not loving it. Don't mind how I look. I am about to go take a shower. Anyways, I started this last night. I'm already just under 50% through. You might think, wow, that must mean you're really enjoying it. You would be wrong. I can see why this has such a low rating on Goodreads. I didn't want to dislike this. Obviously, you never want to dislike a book, but this follows Sarah, who is obsessed with this true crime podcast host. And this true crime podcast host named Rachel, she has not posted in a while. And Sarah is obsessed with her. She then makes herself believe that Rachel has gone missing, and Rachel left her all these clues to go find her. By the way, these two people have never met. Sarah just, in her head, they are best friends. So she travels all this way, found where Rachel's family lives, and gets a job on their ranch. When she goes in the small town where this ranch is at, literally everybody tells her to stay away from that ranch, and like they don't even mention it when she first comes to town trying to find it. And she's trying to be a super sleuth, but she's really terrible at it, and she's just doing all these dumb things that just makes her extremely unlikable. And anytime people from Rachel's life say something about Rachel, she's like, well, I know Rachel better than all these people know Rachel, when she literally just watches her true crime podcast YouTube videos, which, by the way, she watches all the time and actually has them memorized, which is crazy. If this doesn't turn out with Sarah being her stalker or something, I don't know how I'm going to like it. All I know is that Sarah needs some psychological help. Hopefully this ends with her going to therapy, because she needs it. She needs it so bad. Also, I think there's gonna be a little romance going on here. Couldn't care less about that, honestly. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, but the way she describes this one guy in this book, the writing style is really weird. We kind of just jumped straight into the story without any background. It literally just starts with Sarah listening to the podcast and then noticing that she hasn't posted, and then being like, I'm gonna figure out what happened to her. She's been murdered or kidnapped. It's just very odd. Again, and I don't like the writing style. I'm going to continue it because I want to see how this turns out, but it's very oddly written and oddly executed. I feel like the idea could have turned out good, but it just comes off extremely stalkery on our main character's part. And thankfully I've had the audiobook to help me, because literally I was like 30 pages in and I was like, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Anyways, I will update you later once I finish the book. Okay, hello, I am back, and I have since finished If I Disappear. I think I'm going to give this a 2.5, and I feel that's a bit generous. I do think the audiobook helped me enjoy it a bit more. It's just the writing style was so chaotic, and what's the other word I'm thinking of? Like, it jumped around so weird, and the dialogue also was kind of weird. I did like the ending. I think the twist was really good, but that doesn't make up for like me not really liking most of the book. I didn't really like our main character. I thought she was very weirdly obsessed with this podcaster, which I guess makes sense why she went through all of this, but she was also like so stupid. Why did she do all of this for this random podcaster she never met? Everybody was telling her to leave the area and to leave the ranch, and she just kept not listening. Not only that, they had her staying in the filthiest place, and she was like, this is not good, and then proceeds to stay, and then she'd be like, oh, I can't leave, like her mom won't let me leave. Like, you have a car. She didn't do anything to the car. You can leave. Like, that just didn't make sense. Like, some stuff just didn't make sense. It was just weird. I didn't really like the writing style either. I did like the twist at the end, and I think the audiobook made the book more bearable to get through. Overall, I didn't love this book. I don't think it was the worst book I've ever read. I think the idea was good, but the execution was not that good. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give this a 2.5, at least for the moment. I could see it changing to lower at some point, but for this moment in time, I'm giving it a 2.5. And that's mostly for the ending. Again, I liked the storyline. That's why I picked up the book in the first place, because I thought the back sounded interesting. So in the end, I did end up agreeing with the highest rated and the lowest rated and their ratings, with giving The Frozen River a 5 and giving If I Disappear a 2.5. So in the end, I can see why The Frozen River was the highest rated on my TBR and If I Disappear was the lowest rated, as I felt the same way. So I did end up agreeing with the popular opinion. Anyways, I want to keep doing these little reading vlogs of getting my physical TBR down to 0. Give me some ideas in the comments of different challenges or vlog ideas you'd like to see me do. If you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!